Hello everybody, my name is James, hope you're doing well and welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about qualifying for the Canadian Grand Prix. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more Formula 1 content. Also make sure to follow me on X at James's Pit Lane, I'll leave a link in the description, but let's jump straight into the video. Now, I said on Friday that I thought there would be a surprise result this weekend, and well, it's George Russell who managed to take pole position. He has been looking really fast all weekend long, and while the McLaren and Max Verstappen stepped it up in qualifying and it looked like one of them would get pole in Q3, Russell just pulled it out the bag on the last lap and managed to get into the 1-minute 10s, which secured him pole position ahead of Max Verstappen in second and Oscar Piastri in third. And speaking about taking that pole, Russell said, "Today was awesome. That last lap was probably one of the most exhilarating laps of my life, because on my steering wheel you have the delta and I was seeing every corner I was 1/10 quicker. I got into the last corner and I was 6/10 up, so I was like, this lap is mighty. Crossing the line and seeing we were P1 was a real surprise, but I was so chuffed with it." Now, as I said, Russell starts alongside Verstappen for the Grand Prix, and we all know what happened between those two in Spain. Verstappen ended up getting a 10-second time penalty and 3 penalty points on his licence for colliding with Russell, and as a result Verstappen is now 1 point away from a race ban. And Russell took a bit of a dig at Verstappen. You know, when he was speaking about facing Verstappen on the front row, Russell said, "We're mates, it's all good. I've got a few more points on my licence to play with, let's see." Now, one thing also to note is that Lando Norris will start P7 for the Grand Prix. He had been looking relatively fast in Q1 and Q2, but then on his first run in Q3, he made a mistake. He was on a good lap, but going into the last corner, he just lost the rear end and had to take to the escape road, and that was the end of the lap. On the same set of tyres, he did another lap, which was good enough for P7, but then at the end of the session, on his last run, he just could not improve at all, and as a result, will start the race in P7. So once again, another qualifying session where Norris just doesn't get it right in Q3, and this could hurt his championship, with Piastri starting in P3, and he seems pretty happy with P3 considering that free practice was a bit rubbish for him. And speaking about starting P3, Piastri said, "After how practice went, I'm pretty happy with myself, a nice turnaround. It was always the question, do we want the medium or soft for Q3? We went with the soft because we were having a lot of problems and wanted to keep things consistent. I'm pretty happy with third, which is a bit different this year, but I'll definitely take it." Now, going back to Russell, there was an incident between him and Yuki Tsunoda in qualifying. Basically, in Q2, the Mercedes driver overtook the Red Bull exiting the pit lane, and we heard on the radio Tsunoda call for a penalty for George, but there's been no word that the stewards are looking at it. I'm not sure if they will, but it's something to keep an eye on. But on the subject of Tsunoda, he himself has been given a 10-place grid penalty. Basically, in free practice 3, the session was stopped just before the halfway point owing to debris on the track at the Wall of Champions, with Nico Hülkenberg having clipped the barrier before Oscar Piastri also had a brush with the wall, leading to the McLaren driver picking up a puncture. Now, FP3 was able to resume soon afterwards, but Tsunoda was called to the stewards for allegedly overtaking Piastri when the red flag was out. And the stewards noted that Tsunoda saw Piastri travelling slowly on the left side of the track with obvious damage, with Tsunoda suggesting he was worried that he might be struck by debris from car 81 and decided to overtake. And when the stewards looked at the telemetry and data, they reported that Piastri had been travelling at 86 km per hour, while Tsunoda was travelling at 171 km per hour when the overtook took place on the back straight. And the stewards announced that Tsunoda would get a 10-place grid penalty as a result, and because he was knocked out in Q2, he will start the Grand Prix from last. The stewards' verdict went on to say, "Having considered the matter extensively, the stewards determined that while car 81 had an obvious problem, it was not travelling at such a speed that it prevented car 22 from following it at a safe distance. The circumstances were such that there was no justifiable reason for the driver of car 22 to have overtaken car 81. But that's going to be the video from me today. Thank you ever so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe for more videos, and until the next one, take care. Bye.